Hello and welcome to the Honda Odyssey. Passing through 18 states, visiting 15 national parks, and sharing it with many of you, it really was the adventure of a lifetime. Unfortunately, some of you were unable to come and join me on this trip, so I've made this video, or series of videos, to show you what it was like, what I did, and all the cool things I experienced. While it pales in comparison to you being there, I like to think that it's a great way to look back, really appreciate the amazing experience I had, and share it with all of you. The trip didn't really start here though. It really started when I was a kid. I'd like to thank Scooby-Doo. Growing up, I couldn't think of anything more exciting than traveling across the country in a van and getting in wacky adventures with my friends. Another major inspiration was John Steinbeck's Travels with Charlie. I remember reading it in class in the 4th grade, and ever since then, wanting to take a road trip, traveling the back roads and seeing the sideshows of America. In particular, the section of the book where they travel through the Badlands stuck with me. I remember my teacher had a poster of the Badlands up in our classroom, and when we read it, I would just gaze at it and imagine getting lost among the cracks and crevices of such a rugged and alien landscape, very different from the land outside my 4th grade classroom in Michigan. I've always been pretty outdoorsy, but like many, I grew even more so during COVID. In particular, a trip to California in the summer of 2020 really awoke me to how much of the country I hadn't seen. I felt like I had traveled extensively, but realized I had only seen a small fraction of the great country I call home. I went straight to grad school after graduating undergrad, but everything was going on in the background still. My desire to explore and get outside and hike. It was all I could think about. Then, during a particularly nasty bout of finals, during the winter of 2021, the idea hit me. There's no reason I couldn't take a road trip after graduating from grad school and completing 6 straight years of education. I could just go across the country if I just planned accordingly and made sure I had a job that started late. Emboldened by this, I spent a full day drafting out a rough draft of my plan. Though, I probably should have been studying. Turns out I didn't really need that day though. I did fine on my tests anyway. I quickly realized that going on a 50+ day road trip by myself, with nothing but a minivan to sleep in, something I had never done before, maybe was not the best idea without any experience. So, I decided to fix that problem. I got some experience. I outfitted Big Bertha, the family's old workhorse, to a little camper van and took her on a little week-long road trip all by myself. Went down to Shenandoah National Park and some few other spots in Virginia and came back up through West Virginia. I loved it. I couldn't wait to get more. The week flew by and I really wish I was able to go longer, but I didn't have the time at that point. I spent the next year planning and getting ready for the trip. I told all my best friends about it and invited the most outdoorsy of them along with me. This required special planning, as it meant I had to stop in cities for at least a day so they could fly in and fly out. But fortunately, I got everything figured out early enough that I basically got first pick of hotels, campsites, admission times, etc. So that really wasn't too big of a problem, but did make the whole thing more complicated overall. That being said, I knew from the get-go it'd be way better to share this with my friends than go alone. I also spent a lot of time buying and testing out equipment, using it as an excuse to go on lots of fun hikes with my friends and exploring the area around Pittsburgh where I live. By the time graduation rolled around, I was ready to hit the road. I had a colorful cast full of friends to join me on my trip, and a whole country full of adventures waiting for me. While there was tons of stuff I was excited to see on the trip, there were kind of 5 big things I planned the entire route around. The first was Mesa Verde. I've wanted to see it ever since seeing the Scooby-Doo episode where they go there as a kid. It just looks so cool, and especially since everything in the country, at least like building-wise, tends to be within the last 300-400 years. I thought that there were these 1,000-year-old masonry structures built into the side of a cliff, of all things, out in the middle of the desert, just inspired me as a kid, and I couldn't wait to see them. The next was the North Cascades. This was much more recent. I really learned about it as I was doing research for this trip. I followed a lot of YouTubers and social media accounts of people who travel around in vans to kind of get an idea of what kind of equipment I needed to buy for this. And lots of them showed pictures of this national park as a place not many people go to, but was absolutely fantastic. So I couldn't wait to see it for myself. Also, Twin Peaks really turned me on to that whole area. I just kind of fell in love with the sort of natural vibe of it and couldn't wait to see it for myself. The next one was Yellowstone, which doesn't need an introduction. I know lots of people who went there. They all told me it was awesome and I couldn't wait to see it for myself. Fourth was Badlands, which, as explained, was one of the big reasons for this whole trip. Reading Travels with Charlie as a kid really inspired me. And the last was Pictured Rocks Lakeshore. I grew up in Michigan but never got a chance to see this. And I've really wanted to for the last few years, basically ever since I learned it existed. Unfortunately, it was quite far from where I grew up, so it never really made sense for my family to go there. But now I'm on the road on my own, and so no one can stop me. And with that, I was ready to hit the road and begin my epic adventure. So here is the van setup. We got the bed in the middle with 2 sleep bags on it. Head's gonna be that way since it's kind of slanted on the ground. And we have this just in case we want to lean up against something. Gonna have bins on both sides containing clothes and cooking supplies. On the other side, I have another thing of clothes and another sort of just miscellaneous items. Got our table, chairs packed in there. In the back of each pocket, we have some just paper products we might need. The other side's got a binder with the full sort of route plan run out. Here we have just some notebooks and the road atlas, which if we open up, we can see sort of just a general route marked on it. If I can get to the right page. No, Alabama. There we go. So if you can see here, it's kind of, we're going to start Pittsburgh, down across, over to Colorado, then up a little bit through Utah, Salt Lake City, up to Oregon, and then finally up to Seattle. Then from there, we're going to go back across through Montana, down to Wyoming, over to South Dakota, Minneapolis, Wisconsin, through Michigan, and then back. So pretty long route. That goes there. In the back round, this is where the cooler is going to be, and as well as a suitcase for whichever guest with us. We also got this bear can, which has all of our non-food that we don't need to keep cool. A pair of towels, trash bags tucked back in there. When they're in use, they're going to hang off of here. Extra strap in case I need it. Down below here, we have tucked in a tent, and on the other side, there's a travel shower and another tent for that. And we have our emergency jumper cable there. We go over to the front, which is a little dark. You can see the both homemade and store-bought window blockers. I'm gonna put them all over the car in a second, and they'll be used at night. Those to keep things cool. Some of the stuff that's in here, like the butane for the camp stove and the batteries and stuff, can be flammable if it's too hot. So kind of need these to keep things cool. They're also insulated, so if it's hot in here and cold outside, it will keep the heat in. The windows I actually made, they're cardboard, a layer of foam insulation, and then sort of this same reflective material on the outside. So they should do a pretty good job of keeping us warm. I have some more stuff tucked up here. Got sort of just car repair stuff in here, as well as some miscellaneous other stuff, parts and screen doors for the windows. Then down here, got a whole bunch of all my cords and chargers I may need, and got a thing for my phone to mount on there. Got my national park pass in there. I have, AAA stuff and all that. And yeah, that's everything. So we'll be ready to go tomorrow bright and early in the morning, about 7:45. There's actually one thing that I have to do first. I'm gonna reset this trip measurer here, and that way we can get the whole trip and we can see how long we're gonna be. So it's reset to 0. Starting tomorrow, we'll be able to count the miles of the whole thing. Should be pretty cool to see how far we go. Good morning. It's about 7 a.m. Just took my last shower at home. Gonna go downstairs, eat breakfast, pack up, say goodbye to my family, and head out. Gonna get wet, and I'm not gonna know how to de-wet the van.
Yeah, that.
And someone's gonna break.
You know how to de-wet the van?
I think it's gonna be getting.
You run the air conditioner will do it while you drive, and it's almost always on, so that will help.
Let's take a picture, you guys. Oh, this is very comfortable.
Oh, good. There's a road. You got a road map.
Yeah, I have a physical road map.
I got mapless in my car too.
Yeah.
We'll have the van later.
My friends were actually making fun of me for having it when we were in West Virginia. Then one got lost, and that's how we found him.
No, we can fit in this. I know, but the mileage of the.
Hi, Mom.
The pen.
I already did it.
No, but I want to
0 to
I
see
want to
0.
see your start. And
This
then
is the start. Look,
No,
0 miles, Mom.
Honey, you started at 211.
It's 2. I also wrote that down. It's 210,050 on the dot.
Where is the pen? Where is the pen?
Bye, Mom. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Don't crash on my way out. I'll do my best. On the road, going to pick up my first guest star, Eric. And we have our mascot, Fred, the animal Acaris, who will be joining us on the whole trip. So, hi, this is Eric, guest star number 1. Hi, Eric.
Hey,
I'll
what's
say
up?
something about yourself.
I lived with this idiot for 2 years.
Thanks. A glowing review, I see. All right.
Yep.
All right, let's hit the road. After picking up Eric, we headed out to our first stop of the trip, Cedar Creek State Park in Ohio, to do a little fossil collecting. However, the drive was almost 4 hours just to get there, so it gave us lots of time to goof off in the car. Oh yeah, Pittsburgh in proper Pittsburgh weather, gray.
And Fred.
And Fred. Hi, Fred.
Hi, Fred.
Like cool, we have like a very distinct physical thing that delineates being in Pittsburgh and not in Pittsburgh. It's symbolic. If I can get over a lane, good lord.
Now we're doing, what's it called? Perks of being a wallflower, but backward. I figured that out because I was listening to the radio and they're like, yeah, Parkway East, traffic backed up, and then Parkway West, bumper to bumper. I look over to my left on the Parkway West, and it is bumper to bumper, and then there's like slight traffic on Parkway East. I'm like, oh shit!
You're parking.
They're parked! I laughed for a solid like minute there. It was amazing.
Kind of a boomer joke,
It
but
took
it's
me,
still
it took
good.
me
It's so
23 years to figure that out, man. I'm so lucky it didn't take me 24.
good. It took me 24.
Yeah.
I didn't figure it out. You told
Yeah.
me.
Oh my god, dude. I felt so
We have
smart.
officially left the
Ohio, Ohio, Ohio.
Oh no.
Oh. Not Ohio.
Ohio, Jimbo.
Need a doctor? They can cure your case of Ohio.
We also were in West Virginia before.
Oh yeah, we missed the West
Forgot
Virginia.
to film us
Oh,
going
yeah.
in there.
Oh, Ohio.
Oh.
Find it here.
Find what?
Find
Well,
what?
we're gonna be finding fossils here.
Oh, I guess we're finding fossils.
All right, we are finding it. We're finding French lunch.
Yep. Oh,
All
I
right,
like lunch.
we're on state 3. It's
State
been an
3.
hour. We're making good time.
Yes, 3 states only in an hour. That's pretty cool. Yeah. We just hit the brakes so we wouldn't get pulled over.
Yeah,
It was brilliant.
I was going really fast down the lone hill.
We got it, boys. That's the confession.
Oh no!
We got a confession.
Oh, no.
Lock him up. Look at us, man. Do you think like animal carists would like style their like things like
I'm sure they
mustaches?
would. I'm sure they would. They
It would
have
go really well with like a top hat.
Oh, and a monocle. We need to make Fred a monocle.
Yes, he needs a monocle.
He's a sophisticated animal
sophisticated
carist.
gentleman and a pocket watch.
Yeah, I don't think he has pockets though. I don't think he could wear pants. He doesn't have legs.
You gotta make pants for him. You could have a kilt.
A kilt. Oh, yeah.
But you need to add like a pocket to the kilt. Yeah. Ohio moment. Only in Ohio. There we go.
Yeah.
Ohio River.
I mean, this isn't the Ohio River.
We arrived at our first stop, took a quick break at the visitor center to eat lunch. Now we're gonna try to get Fred some food. We also have to get this permit to fossil collect here. The man was trolling and told us it cost $200, but it was actually free.
$500.
$500, my bad.
I saw a frog.
Yeah, Eric in fact did not see a frog. He just took the button.
I gave him $1.
We're gonna go see what we can find now. So we've only been here like 5 minutes and already found tons of fossils. Literally every rock is just covered in them. But there's rules about which ones you can take. You can only take ones that fit in the palm of your hand. So I got like these 2 shells and there's a coral on this. So there it is. Eric's over there. He's digging around in the dirt. And I came here once as a kid and I remember this cliff being a lot taller. It's really not that big, but yeah, tons of fossils, very fun. Instead of Jurassic Park, we're out here looking for things to go in the Cambrian Aquarium. All right, so we got our car fossil, a good snack for Fred. He's gonna eat now. Just kidding, it's gonna go hang out somewhere, I don't know.
There's a cubby over.
Oh, you wanna put it? Yeah, he should be on the driver's side cubby. That's the proper place for a car fossil.
Are you from Cincinnati? Because you're the only Cincinnati.
Thanks, Eric. Very cool.
Wait, I can do better. You're only the Cincinnati I see.
It sounded like you had a stroke. Alright, we're crossing the river into Kentucky, which will be state number 4 for the trip and also for the day. Going to Boston. We're shipping up to Boston. Shipping up to Boston. Mammoth Cave.
You got it. It's Mammoth Cave. Mammoth Cave.
Ah, we're at Mammoth Cave.
Yeah, we made it.
We made it. National Park 1.
National Park 1.
I don't know how many I'm doing. Several. One of several.
1 of 7.
Several.
Lodge. Fred.
So we arrived at Mammoth Cave. This is our spot. Hi, Eric. We got a little kitchen table, fire pit. We're just gonna stay in the van. So no tent tonight. To the water it goes. Voila, mamma mia.
I didn't see you break it. Do it again.
All right, I'm doing it again. I'm putting more pasta in, don't worry. Ready? I'm gonna break the pasta. Oh, there, a piece went flying. Hold on, where's the fork? I need to push the pasta into the water. Here we are. Eric's washing some pots. We got some spaghetti cooking. We're gonna put some pasta sauce on it and have ourselves a good dinner. Doing a little cleaning.
Yum yum.
After finishing dinner and doing the dishes, we explored the campground and the area around it. We found this really cool old train, which used to bring tourists up in the late 1800s. After, we went back to camp, got ready for bed, and played some cards. We hit the hay nice and early. We wanted to be at the visitor center first thing the next day. We were only able to get on one tour in advance, but we heard that they usually open up new spots if you get there right as the place opens in the morning, so we wanted to do that. Either way, we wanted to get a ton of sleep because we knew we had a big day of adventuring ahead of us. All right, we just woke up after our first night. Everything went pretty well.
Except for the bear.
Yeah, there was a bear that came and checked out the car, we think. We don't really know. I slept through it. Eric says he felt something lean against the vehicle, so it was probably a bear.
And then I fell back asleep.
Yeah, it didn't really bother us too much. Just woke up and took all of our insulation things off, which did a good job of holding the temperature constant, which was good. And yeah, we're gonna eat some breakfast, and it's been raining all night, and hopefully it will stop soon so we can go outside without being wet. So after the first day of driving, we're already at over 530 miles, about a quarter of the way there. But we're not gonna be driving this much again for a while, so things are gonna slow down a bit. After eating a quick breakfast of granola bars, we decided to go to the visitor center. Fortunately, we got there early enough to get on an extra tour, the Cleveland Avenue tour, which meant that we got to go inside the cave twice that day. In addition, since it was still raining, we decided to check out the museum, which showcased some of the weird animals that live in the cave. Most of them are white, since there's no light inside, so there's no reason to be any other color. That's a little disconcerting. Where did it go? All right, so it's raining, and we got on another tour today, but it's not until 3. My first tour is not until 11:30, so we're gonna walk down the trail to go see River Styx Spring in the rain. We got our coats on, and hopefully we won't get too wet. Cave moment. You can physically feel the cold air wafting out of the cave. It's very chilly. Want to say anything wacky and uncharacteristic, Eric?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, Eric.
Hey.
So we made it to the Green River, which seems improperly named because it's not green, it's brown. Or like the Poop River. So maybe I was wrong. If you look in the middle, it's a little bit of a green. Maybe it was appropriately named.
Yeah, I told you so. Did I tell you?
Didn't say anything, Eric. Shut up.
Yeah, I didn't say anything.
So we made it to the big spring. As you can see, it's quite large. The river flows underneath the cave for a while and then comes out here. It flows into the Green River, which we just saw. Though this one actually is green, like the other one. But it's pretty big, pretty impressive. Any comments, Eric?
Looks like it says milk there.
Where?
Milk.
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 We just encountered a fun guy, and I'm not talking about Eric. This is a frog I think you will like. I realized we were running late, so we quickly made our way back to the visitor center for our first tour. I didn't take much video from now basically until the beginning of the next tour, just because there were a lot of people and I didn't want to bother anyone. So enjoy this montage of all the cool things we saw. Following the Grand Avenue tour, we just went back to the visitor center and sat around. We were pretty tired. I mean, we had already done probably what normal people would do over 2 days in one, and we weren't done yet. We still had another tour ahead of us. So we just relaxed, rested up, and got ready for the next tour. We had to take a bus to the other side of the park, which is where the entrance to the Cleveland Avenue tour was. I wonder who Eric is airdropping a cringe picture to. I wonder who that could be. The Cleveland Avenue tour entered through an artificial entrance created by the CCC in the 1930s. On our way down, we got to see some cool cave specimens, including cave crickets, which is what's on screen right now. They're not spiders, despite the fact they look like one, and cave spiders, which are in fact spiders. In Cleveland Avenue, we got to see what was the highlight of the original cave tours in the 1800s, gypsum flowers. These rare crystalline formations only occur in a handful of places in the world, and they're the most abundant in Mammoth Cave. At one point, this entire area was full of them. But neglect on the part of the original owners, who even sold some of them as souvenirs, means there's only a few left today relative to what there used to be. This part of the cave used to be at the end of a 14-hour round-trip caving tour, which is what the main attraction of the cave was up until it was acquired by the national park. Fortunately today, we have the National Park Service to help preserve the cave and prevent further damage, as well as keeping it accessible for everyone. It also protects local traditions. For example, our tour guide on the Grand Avenue tour was a descendant of Stephen Bishop. Stephen Bishop was an enslaved man who was one of the first explorers of the cave, really being a celebrity in his own time. Much of the early exploration and formations were named by or for him. All right, we are heading out of Mammoth Cave National Park. We were able to get on 2 tours today. We did, what was the first one we did? The historic tour, which we signed up for in advance, and we were able to get on the Cleveland Avenue tour just by getting up early and getting here, which is pretty cool. That's where there were a lot of gypsum crystals and stuff. And Eric has etched himself permanently into the mind of the of the tour guide, because on the way up and through the elevator, we were asking how do the crickets eat, and the guy told us they leave and they only come back in at night or during the day when it's hot. And if they stay out during the day, their stomachs will explode. To which he replied in a very cheery voice, "Oh, neat," causing everyone in the elevator to stop and give him the "bro, what" look for the remainder of the elevator ride. A family with kids even told their kids to step away from him. So good job, Eric.
Pretty cool.
Unfortunately, pets were not allowed on the tour, so Fred was not allowed to come into the cave with us. So he had to sit in the car all day. I'm sure he had a great time anyway.
We cracked the windows for him.
Yeah, we did. Don't want to leave a hot animal Icarus alone in a hot car.
Might fossilize.
Yeah, might fossilize. All right. After a long journey, we have arrived at D's Butts Barbecue. Oh, he's taking a sharp turn.
Well, I made it.
Hold on to D's Butts. D's Butts Barbecue was great. It was honestly the best food I had the whole trip, and we both loved it. After pigging out on D's Butts, we drove to Louisville, where we stayed in a hotel and wrapped up the first few days of the trip.